Have you ever felt like you're doing everything for your hormones, taking the supplements, cutting out foods, tracking symptoms, reading the information online, listening to all the podcasts, and yet you still feel exhausted, inflamed, anxious, or stuck? If that sounds familiar, there's a chance the problem isn't that you're doing too little, it may be that you're actually doing too much. And honestly, I see this all the time, especially with women in perimenopause. Today, I want to talk about why overcomplicating your health journey can actually keep you stuck and why simplifying may be the missing piece. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Linda Vizzoli, nutritional therapist, health coach, and senior lecturer at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London. I help women understand their hormones, restore their energy, and feel confident in their bodies again through simple nutrition and lifestyle shifts, which honor our unique female physiology. And if you're interested in more honest, evidence-based conversations around hormonal health and women's health, do like and subscribe. I share videos like this every week. Now, I've been studying hormones for close to 15 years, and I've come to the realization that whilst hormone physiology is complex, optimizing hormonal health is actually not as complicated as we're making it out to be. The shifts are actually quite simple. So please stick with me. One of the biggest patterns I see in clinic is women assuming they need a more advanced protocol when often they need to come back to the foundations. These are things that I typically see. Taking 12 or more supplements and not knowing what any of them are doing. Constantly changing protocols because a new practitioner or influencer suggested something different. Obsessing over cortisol, estrogen dominance, gut dysbiosis, histamine, insulin resistance, all at once. Restricting foods more and more for inflammation, fasting, even though it's worsening symptoms, tracking every symptom, every cycle shift, every temperature change, doing millions of tests. And in perimenopause, that can be especially intense. Women are often trying to fix a whole host of symptoms which seem out of control at this stage in our lives. Weight gain, poor sleep, anxiety, hot flushes, low mood, heavy or erratic periods, brain fog, fatigue. And they're approaching it as if there must be one perfect protocol. But often what I see underneath all of this is stress, not just emotional stress, but physiological stress, and the body feels it. If you've watched any of my other videos, you may already know that hormones are simply reacting and adapting to our environment, and stress has a massive impact on hormonal health and female physiology. Let me share an example. I recently worked with a woman who came to me expecting a complete overhaul. She thought I was going to put her on a long supplement plan, a detox protocol, maybe order lots of testing. But when I took her case history, what stood out wasn't a deficiency, it was chronic stress, poor sleep, constant worry, hypervigilance around food, and constantly eliminating foods in the hopes of magic healing, jumping from protocol to protocol. And I said to her, I think the first thing we need to do is simplify, support your sleep, reduce your life load, nourish consistently, stop chasing every possible root cause. And I could tell that she was disappointed because simplicity can feel too basic. But simple does not mean insignificant or easy. Here's what we forget. Healing doesn't always respond to more effort, especially female hormones. In fact, sometimes doing too much trying to fix yourself can act as another stressor. And if you're in perimenopause, when cortisol and sex hormones are already in a more delicate dance, that really matters because poor sleep affects blood sugar. Blood sugar affects cortisol. Cortisol can affect progesterone. And when progesterone is low, it's going to affect mood, energy, metabolism, inflammation, and even the intensity of your symptoms. Sometimes women are searching for a sophisticated hormone protocol when the first intervention is actually just stabilizing that nervous system load. That is not sexy wellness advice. It's not biohacking or tricking your body into thinking this or that. But girlfriend, I'm telling you, it's so powerful. How do I know? I've lived it myself. When I was navigating fertility struggles, I was doing everything right. Super strict diet, tons of supplements, cycle tracking obsessively, perfect timing of intercourse. And every month when I got my period, I used to feel so frustrated. Why was all this effort not working? What I can see now is that I was putting enormous pressure on my body. I wasn't supporting my fertility, I was micromanaging it. And those are not the same thing. And funnily enough, the month that I decided to take a break, have a couple of cocktails with my husband, enjoy myself, and reconnect, that's when I fell pregnant with my daughter. Maybe it was a coincidence, but after working with women for over a decade, I am almost certain that it wasn't. Now, let me clarify something. When I say simple or simplify, I don't mean doing nothing and just giving up. I mean returning to what actually regulates the body, setting the foundation, so to speak. So, real nourishment, not restrictive diets or crazy protocols or subsisting on leaves and seeds like a baby bird. Real foods instead of another supplement. Rest without guilt. Movement that revitalizes and strengthens rather than depleting, and mindset work, so crucial. It can be as simple as eating a large, nourishing breakfast with protein and carbs within an hour of waking up. This shift alone has been life changing for so many of the women that I've worked with, including myself. Walking after meals instead of doing punishing workouts, not spending your evening obsessively researching your symptoms online and actually optimizing sleep instead, having dinner with friends instead of staying home because your elimination diet has become socially isolating. Sometimes the most therapeutic thing is less intensity, not more. Now, to be clear, I am not anti testing. I am not anti supplements. I use both in practice. Sometimes deeper investigation is absolutely needed, but I always want the foundations in place first. Because if nourishment is inconsistent, stress is high, or sleep is poor, more protocols are just going to add noise. So if you're listening and wondering if this may be you, ask yourself, am I constantly searching for the next fix? Am I overwhelmed by conflicting health advice? Has my wellness routine become stressful? I tick in all the boxes every day. Am I neglecting joy, relationships, or rest in the pursuit of perfect health? Because that matters too. Health is not found in a supplement cabinet. It includes how safe, nourished, and supported your body feels. And honestly, if you're in perimenopause and feel like you're drowning in contradictory hormone advice, you may not need a more complicated plan. You may need a simpler one. And this is one of the reasons why I created the Midlife Reset, my online program where I outline my simple step-by-step approach to restoring hormonal harmony with simple nutrition and lifestyle shifts. You'll also get live group coaching sessions included for extra support. I'll share the details in the description below. If this resonated, let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt like you were overdoing your health journey? And if you want more evidence based, grounded conversation about hormones, subscribe because that's exactly what I share here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.